Charlamagne the God has also just written a book called Shook One, Anxiety Playing Tricks on Me, and it's been out for just a little while. He is already a New York Times best-selling author. His first book was Black Privilege, and his current book is Shook One.
Yes, sir.
And guys, I've read this book. In fact, I marked stuff up.
Yeah, it looks like a church Bible the way
I
you
know,
got it marked up.
and I've got things marked all through it. And I got to tell you, I had him on my show. One of the things he said is that he's not an expert. He's just got life experience. But let me tell you, he's used that life experience in a very insightful way. So if you haven't read Shook One, I stand by this book. I recommend it. I think that it is insightful. I think it is inspirational. And I think you will find things in here that will change the way you approach the challenges in your life. And I think you will bitch less and whine less after you read it. Because seriously, you had chances to go lay down and whine about shit, or you could just get up and go do something about it. And you got up and did something about it.
Yeah, that's why I say, you got to use that fear as fuel. You got to use that anxiety as fuel. Like I had every reason to just give it up, cash it in. But those options of, being broke, sitting under the tree, being in prison or being dead really scared me. And like when I started to get in a lot of trouble and, some of those experiences started to happen to me, my father would always say that if you don't change your lifestyle, you're going to end up in one of those three places. So
Yeah.
I was shook to death. They always say smart people learn from their own mistakes, wise people learn from the mistakes of others. I made some mistakes myself, but I saw some of those mistakes really affecting people to the point where I was like, yo, my father was absolutely right. That's why the best advice I can give kids, man, is listen to your elders. Because everything that we could possibly think to do, they've already done.
Tell me about anxiety for you. You said you didn't know anxiety was a thing. You didn't know it was a mental condition, an emotional condition that was treatment worthy. Now that now that you figured it out, looking back, when did it start for you? When was the first time you had something that would qualify?
When I was like 10.
Really?
It was Hurricane Hugo in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Hurricane Hugo was a Category 5 that hit South Carolina. And at the time, we were living in a single-wide trailer. And I remember everybody on our dirt road had to evacuate. We all went to this local elementary school called Whitesville Elementary School. And it was just like listening to all the panic from the adults and, them saying things like they don't know if their trailer's going to be there tomorrow or the house not going to be there or we might not make it through the night. Like, I remember that same feeling, heart beating crazy, shortness of breath, like just man, what's going to happen, and that wasn't even an irrational fear. That was actual fear.
Yeah.
So that's the first time I remember having it. But I mean, I've had it so much throughout my life, man. And it's so weird because I think about times where I used to hide in the woods or hide in the cornfield away from people just because I didn't want to see certain individuals because I was having such bad panic attacks, or sometimes like I would be having a panic attack and want to be left alone and know that like one of my neighbors might come walking down the road. I might see them from a distance and dart off in the cornfield just to like get away from them. So I've been having panic attacks my whole life, just not knowing what they were.
Do you know what triggers it? Have you learned what triggers are?
It's weird, man, because I'm like, I don't know what the word for this is, but it's sort of like being a mental hypochondriac. I'm a hypochondriac, period.
Really?
But I'm a mental hypochondriac as well because I'm the type of person to see something on the news, like some rare disease, and think that I'm going to get it. I remember it's a rapper named Pimp C. He died December 4th of like 2007, and they just found him dead in a hotel room, and nobody knew what he had died for originally. So, and some people were saying it was a heart attack. So I remember that whole day convincing myself that I was going to die of a heart attack that day. Like I could not shake that out of my head. So much so that I went to the emergency room that night. Got to the emergency room. Doctor tells me what he always tells me, like, there's nothing wrong with your heart. Your heart is fine. Did you have a panic attack? I'm like, a panic attack? I don't have no panic attack. Do you have anxiety? No, I don't have anxiety. Did you have some caffeine, energy drink? I'm like, oh, I drank a Red Bull that day. So I could always point to something else to deflect from the fact that, no, you just have anxiety, whether it was stress or an energy drink. Like, no, like you have anxiety. And I had to get a handle on that. So I don't necessarily know what causes it because it could be little things. Like I had a panic attack a couple weeks ago because my co-host was reporting a story about human trafficking, and she was talking about these little girls getting found in Michigan, and Then I looked on social media and saw like some human trafficking going on in Virginia, and automatically just start thinking about my 10-year-old daughter, you know? And like I'm trying to push all of that out of my head because I feel like your thoughts really do become things. And like I said, the only reason I'm here right now is because I believed I could be here. So the things I want to happen in my life, I constantly think about. The things I don't want to happen, I don't think about at all. So what causes the panic attacks for me is when those negative thoughts keep popping in your head, popping in your head, popping in your head. And then if it does manifest itself, God forbid, I feel like I created that, you know?
The first book I wrote was called Life Strategies. I wrote about the 10 laws of life, and one of them is what I fear I create. It's like with athletes. If they fear they're going to hurt their knee because they've come back too soon, they'll run funny, they'll favor it, they'll create the very thing they're afraid of.
Yeah.
And thoughts are so powerful because we speak at 125 words a minute, but we think at 1,200 to 1,400 words a minute. It's like a kid going through the cafeteria, some 8th grade girl, and she hears some girls say, she's fat, she's got a fat ass or whatever. They may only say that one time, but then she starts repeating it, and she's repeating it at 1,200 words a minute, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Think how many times she says that to herself. She takes over for the bully, internalizes it, and destroys her self-esteem because she thinks so fast, it just becomes an automatic thought.
Yeah. Now, you know, so like that's what I can't do it anymore because my daughter's in 5th grade, but I used to pop up at my daughter's daycare all the time, pop up at her school all the time. I mean, now you can't because you just can't walk up into school anymore because she's in 5th grade. But I used to have to do that for me.
Yeah.
Just to relieve my stress.
She's okay?
Yeah, that's it. Simple as that. Because I mean, it can be little things. I can watch a video of a woman in daycare beating up on a child. You know, you'd be like, yo, what the hell is wrong with these people?
Yeah.
So it's just like every now and then you just got to pop up and make sure everything's gonna be okay. Like that's one reason I really don't like to stay anywhere. I'm flying out on the red eye at night because I just want to get back home. You know, like I don't like to stay the night places. I just like to be home. And when my kids call me in the middle of the night, I want to be there.
Yeah. A certain degree of vigilance, it's not a bad idea in this day and time.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you can overdo it, but you got to remain vigilant. So what kind of therapy are you getting? What are they doing for your anxiety? What works for you?
What works for me is exercises, you know, and I have a very sensible therapist who listens to all my stories, and she listens with the intent to understand and not just reply. And what really made me really dig her was one day I just came in there and unloaded on her, and she looked at me and she goes, "Woo!" You know, and I was like, it's a lot, right? And she was like, "Yeah." And she just kind of like sat there for a second and then just kind of like walked me through it, you know? And then she teaches me like just simple breathing exercises because sometimes that's all I really need. Like I just need to talk myself off the ledge and figure out ways to keep those negative thoughts from repeating in my mind 1,200, 1,400 times a minute, like you said.
Do you do anything physically?
I got stress balls. I have stress balls. I work out 3 to 4 times a week. You know, I think about when I was young, I repeat daily affirmations to myself. You know, I used to always say, I love Jehovah God and his son, Jesus Christ. I love Jehovah God and his son, Jesus Christ. I love Jehovah God and his son, Jesus Christ. Go away, Satan. Go away, Satan. Go away, Satan. And then when my panic attacks would get real intense, I would straight up say, fuck Satan. Fuck Satan. Fuck Satan. Because my mentality was, in the Bible, they told Job, curse God and die. So I said, if I curse Satan, I'll be blessed. So that's what I used to do. So it's just like repeating constant daily affirmations to myself, you know, praying, taking deep breaths, breathing, and really like getting to the source of whatever it is, you know, whatever my anxiety is. The problem sometimes is when the source of your anxiety is literally something that I saw on television, something I read in a magazine, something I heard in the radio, something I heard happen to somebody else. You know, I've had, you know, friends who my worst fear has happened to them, you know, like, you know, the fear of losing your wife, not losing her like divorce, but like dying in like a car accident. You know what I'm saying? I recently had something like that happen, and it's like, man, you know, when you hear that story, and then you don't have the words for your friend, you know what I'm saying? You don't have the words to tell your friend, and like you're trying not to. You're trying to think about your friend, but you're also not trying to think about this story because when you think about that story, it makes you think about your own situation and something like that happening to your wife. So that's like the tricky part of like just of how to deal with that kind of stuff, man. And that's something I'm trying to navigate now.
When you say you're a hypochondriac, do you read about something or see something on TV? Is that what triggers that?
Oh, 100%. I thought I was gonna get Ebola. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I thought I was gonna get SARS. You know, all that, any of that, all of that stuff. I thought that people remember when they were sending the bombs, the pipe bombs, and they just were sending pipe bombs just now, but when they were sending the bombs in Austin, Texas, to random people,
Yeah.
like I'm the type of person that'll, like literally last week when they were sending the pipe bombs, I pulled up to my house and I just saw all these boxes on the porch. I'm circling the boxes,
Yeah.
you know, trying to see what the labels are. Then I'm like, oh, that's just Zara,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And my wife's just ordering stuff.
Yeah. But if you think you have a disease or you think that you've got some infection or something, what do you do about it? How does it paralyze you?
Oh, I go to the doctor immediately. Like my doctor will tell you right now, like she'll like you cannot get another physical. like,
Yeah.
like you're fine. I promise you, you're fine. Like I had a friend die last year of stomach cancer, you know, and I remember I visited him a a week before he like really went bad and you know he died. His name was Reggie Osei, Combat Jack, and he was just telling me all the symptoms. He was like, you know, my stomach started to get big, and I thought it was because I wasn't eating right and because I was doing so much drinking, and then I got sick and I went to the hospital. By the time he got to the hospital, it was stage 4 cancer. So I'm in my mind, I'm looking in the mirror like, yeah, my stomach getting a little big. Like I got a knot right here. I'm just making up stuff, and I'm going to the doctor, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" Like she's like, "What are you talking about now?"
That's still going on, but you're in therapy. What are they doing about your thinking about that?
It's just a process. Like it's just I'm talking my way through it. You know, she's talking me off the ledge in a lot of situations. Like, you know, she gives real simple advice. Like, you know, you do realize this is all in your mind. Like, you went to the doctor, right? I'm like, yeah. The doctor said you're fine, right? I'm like, yeah. So what's the issue? And I'm like, I don't know. That's why I'm here
Yeah.
talking to you
Yeah.
now. So it's kind of like just rationalizing things in your brain. That's why I believe in like irrational anxiety and rational anxiety, you know, because
Yeah.
I'm not on any medication. She hasn't put me on any medication. She just kind of like talks me through it and gives me breathing exercises.
Do you ever get nervous when you're getting ready to do an appearance,
Yes, I do.
like in front of an audience or something?
Yes, but I expect that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say rational anxiety. Like when I come out on your show, I know I'm on live television. You
Yeah.
know, I know that it's a bunch of people out there watching me. So I
Yeah.
can't, you know, get myself in a Cindy Brady Bunch moment where the light comes on and I'm just
Yeah.
sitting there at the camera frozen, like, yo, it's sink or swim at this point. So I expect to have anxiety in those situations.
But once you're out there, like when you were on my show, it wasn't 30, 45 seconds that you know how to read a room. You
Yeah.
immediately know this audience really likes you. They like us together. They're having
Yeah.
fun with us having fun. Do you pick up on that and immediately get
Yeah, and it's therapeutic.
you relax?
Yeah, it's therapeutic for me in a way, you know,
Yeah.
it's weird though, because I'm weird. I don't like compliments. And for whatever reason, I'm used to somebody telling me they hate me more than somebody telling me they like me. So even when you say the room is cool and it's a good vibration, I do feel that energy, but I know I can't play to that crowd either. So what I really do in those situations is just be me. Like what I've learned to do in my life is live my truth. So nobody can use my truth against me. The easiest thing in the world for me to do is be myself. If I try to be anything else, I'm gonna lose every single time.
Does that boil down to get them before they get me?
No, I just don't feel like you should play to the room because I feel like you'll hear those cheers, and then when you say something and don't hear the cheers, you'll be questioning yourself like, "Oh my God, did I just say something stupid? Like, did that suck? Oh, they think I'm trash now."
Oh, so you would ride it up and down
That's all.
if you
Like,
got sensitive to it.
yeah, so for me, I'm just out there telling my story, telling my experience. You ask me a question, I'm answering it. However the crowd reacts is how they react. Like I can't play to the crowd and try to get a laugh from the crowd or try to get a oh from the crowd or any of that. Like I
Yeah.
just got to tell
No,
my
no.
story.
Yeah. But you understand when you are being truthful and you are being authentic, you know that plays.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, people know the truth when they hear it.
I feel like the universe responds to honest people. That's why
Yeah.
I'm always truth. truthful, even whether it's good, whether it's bad, or whether it's ugly. That's why I have no problem sharing any experiences from my life,
Yeah.
because I just feel like I said earlier, like I feel like you go through certain things because God is working through you. He's making you go through certain things so He can work through you to reach other people.